Since I'm done. So my name is Dan Fishman. I'm the Regional Director of New England for the Johnson Weld campaign. I want to thank everybody for coming. The petition drive was run by the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts. And although we've done this a lot in the past, this time it was remarkably easy. And the reason why is that we had an unbelievable candidate to stand behind. When we went out and we said the name Bill Weld, overwhelmingly people were like, absolutely, I want to sign. Number one response that I heard was, best governor we ever had. It's one of those things that it's inspiring for us to get out there and work when people are excited about the candidate we're representing. So, having said that, I want to turn the thing over to Governor Weld.
Yeah. All right, Governor. So, why aren't you at the top of the ticket, Governor?
Well, you know, Gary ran last time, Gary Johnson, as the presidential nominee, and called me up and asked me if I'd like to join him, and I went for it like a barracuda because I've known Gary Johnson for 20 years. We served together as fellow governors, and I think the world of the guy. And he's not just a world-class athlete, an Ironman triathlete, and climbed the highest mountain in all 7 continents, but he's very serious about his politics, too. Without ever rubbing anybody's nose or anything, he gets the job done. So I'm more than happy to take second place behind Gary Johnson.
What do you say to people who say a vote for a third-party candidate is really a vote for Hillary Clinton?
Well, you know, I see the race a little differently than I might have back at the convention in Orlando. The ice is cracking a little bit. We've seen it start to crack in Congress just this week. I've spoken with a few Republican members of Congress who are interested in reassessing their endorsements for the fall, and others as well. And I do a lot of the fundraising for the ticket, and that's picked up dramatically just in the last 2-3 weeks. So the scenario now is not to just try to pick up a couple of states and throw it into the House where who knows what might happen. The scenario now is qualify for the debates, get admitted to the debates by the end of August, first week in September. That step alone would probably carry us past 15%, closer to 20%, and work on getting another 5%, which I think is a modest goal, in the month of September. And that would mean entering the month of October with 25% in the polls. And you show me a 3-party race with one at 25, who 2.5 months earlier was at 5, and 2 at 35, who 2.5 months earlier were at 45. And I'll tell you who's going to win that race. It's the ticket with the 25.
In your New York years, did you meet Donald Trump, and what did you make of him?
I met him socially more than once. Fine guy. I think he was, understated, low key. I think,
like his campaign.
Well, no, it's a different. When Donald enters the business world, he's a different guy. I mean, I think that's been proved. And I think the Donald Trump who would show up at the White House would be the business Donald Trump. It would not be the family man capable of acts of personal generosity.
He just delivered a major policy speech, and he said people shouldn't put their trust in the tired old voices of the past who rigged the system. Are you a tired old voice of the past?
Well, I don't know that I'm a voice of the past. I think the thing about the Johnson Weld ticket is that nobody can say we haven't been there and done that. And you might not like everything we did, but both of us were Republican governors who were elected in blue states and came in and really did move the needle back on the fiscal position. Both those states were struggling when we came in. Massachusetts was flat on its back. I can remember the administration just before I took over saying we're bankrupt. We're technically bankrupt. We couldn't pay our bills as they come due. And so we did a radically different approach, as some may recall, who were also old and tired.
Guilty.
We cut taxes 21 times in my 2 terms and balanced the budget, and that is not done in Washington. And Gary Johnson equally cut taxes 14 times, never raised them. We never raised them here. And that's just not done in Washington because everyone assumes that unless there's a 5% increase in every account in the budget, that's called a cut in Washington. So nobody can argue that we didn't change our states. So I don't think anyone can argue that Johnson and or Weld are incapable of being change agents. And that's maybe a difference between us and other tickets. You know, a promise, I promised to do this is different than I did this.
Historically, nobody votes for the vice president. Nothing personal.
That's true.
And so what I'd like to know is, what do you bring to the ticket, and how important even is it that you're on the ticket as a vice president?
Well, again, Gary and I have known each other for 20 years. We make each other comfortable. I just came back from a 4-day swing out west with Gary where we had rallies that went very well. We played backgammon on the plane. We played pool when we got to the holding situation for the rallies. So you know, at least I was happy. But the truth is that Gary also enjoys to kick back and play those games as well. So I think having a ticket mate that you've known for a long time and that you know you're personally comfortable with, that is important. You may remember when Paul Cellucci and I ran together, there was 2 for the price of 1. And Gary and I have talked about doing exactly the same thing. If we're elected, I'm not even going to have my own staff, personal staff as vice president, because we want to govern as a team. 2 signatures required. The Weld Cellucci approach. Can't quite say that.
We're hearing a lot about Republicans who are supporting Hillary Clinton this week. We're hearing a lot about that. You've said some very positive things about Hillary Clinton. Why shouldn't Republicans just turn and vote for Hillary Clinton if they don't like Donald Trump? Why should they maybe choose
I think
you?
the Democrats would have a very hard time, given all the promises that have been made to the electorate, keeping the budget in check and keeping the national deficit from running up. I mean, it'll be $20 trillion, the national debt, by the time President Obama leaves office, and I believe about half of that is in the last 8 years, and you're going to see more of the same, perhaps even accelerated. That is not good for the economy. That is not good for employment. No matter what anybody says or promises, you know, I'm going to go spend an extra X trillion dollars and that'll help employment. No, it won't.
So should these Republicans vote for you instead of Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, absolutely they should. We're the only ticket out there with 2 elected Republicans on it.
Governor,
the Secretary of State.
We just talked to one of your proteges, Governor Charlie Baker. He's a moderate Republican. He said he's not going to vote for Donald Trump. He should be leaning towards you, but he says he can't support the Libertarian Party either. What kind of pitch do you make to someone like that?
I'm not pitching Charlie because I think he's very smart to stay out of the national campaign. As soon as he sticks a finger in it, everyone's going to come to him every morning and say, well, you're a gladiator in this contest now. What do you think about this sub-issue? And he wouldn't have time to govern here. I think he's doing just the right thing for himself.
But what kind of pitch do you make to moderate Republicans like Baker?
Oh, I say we're in charge of in favor of smaller government. You know, the libertarian aspect of our campaign is entirely about smaller government and pruning back the excesses of government in Washington. I personally have never seen a layer of government that I didn't think could be shrunk 10 or 20% by judicious analysis. And what Charlie Baker and I did back in the 90s was zero-based budgeting. Assume every account starts at 0, and if it can justify itself, say it's a healthcare account and it's preventive medicine and it led to a lot of very good outcomes, then you multiply that appropriation by 10. And if it's a bureaucracy that had a lot of inputs, meaning appropriations, and nothing happened, then you zero that out. That's how to really cut spending, and I think that resonates with Republican voters. It resonates with conservative Democrat voters, too.
Governor, you're going up to the Secretary of State's.
Third-party candidate.
I voted for some Libertarian state reps back when I was governor and before, yeah.
Have you always been a Libertarian at heart?
I think so. I mean, I can remember reading Friedrich Hayek back in law school, which is about when Gary began to self-identify as a libertarian.
Governor, you're about to go up to the Secretary of State's office when the Secretary of State said 2 weeks ago that a vote for a third party is a wasted vote. What do you think about that?
Well, everybody's entitled to their point of view, and I have great respect for the Secretary, who I've known for a long time. My analysis, however, as I was saying before, is that we have a path to run right up the middle and win the whole thing here. In fact, that's what I think is going to happen. But libertarians never tell other people what to do. So if anyone in the Commonwealth wants to waste their vote by casting it for Trump or Clinton, it's okay with us.
Part of getting to 15% is increasing your visibility on the campaign. What are you going to be doing in the next couple of weeks to kind of get to that level?
Well, Media
visibility,
appearances, rallies, we were just at rallies out west. We're going to have rallies the week after next in Boston, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. So we'll be in this area as well.
Governor, what was the
Fundraising, get enough in the kitty to increase credibility.
Governor, what was the last time you were in this building for signatures to the Secretary of State's office, if ever?
For signatures? I don't think ever. I've been in this building quite recently on behalf of clients several times. Not for signatures.
In 90 or 94, you were never here to deliver stuff?
No, no.
Thank you, Governor.
Okay.
That was the year
Thank
Mitt Romney delivered them for you.
That's right.
Thank you guys very much
Thanks,
for coming.
guys.
Thanks, Governor.
Okay, we're gonna head upstairs with the petitions. to the
Make sure
17th
we
floor.
can get through security,
I will.
so that we can
You guys are coming
capture the
through. Yep.
video of this.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.